The Japanese Empire's roots trace back to early settlers who migrated via land bridges and sea routes. These settlers formed diverse tribes and clans, which eventually unified under powerful family dynasties. This cohesion laid the groundwork for a nation that would later become a formidable empire on the global stage. The rise of the samurai class dramatically shaped the Japanese Empire. Initially local warriors serving provincial lords, samurais gained prominence and power, becoming a pivotal military and social class. Their strict code of conduct, Bushido, influenced the political and cultural fabric of Japan, reinforcing values of loyalty, honor, and discipline. Emperor Meiji's reign marked a transformative era for Japan. Ascending to the throne in 1867, he spearheaded the Meiji Restoration, which revolutionized Japanese society, economy, and politics. His policies catapulted Japan from feudal isolation into a modern state, eager to rival Western powers industrially and militarily. The ideological landscape of the Japanese Empire was deeply influenced by Shinto and Buddhism. Shinto, with its emphasis on ancestral worship and nationalism, became a state ideology that promoted imperial divinity. Buddhism also played a crucial role, impacting ethics and education, and providing philosophical underpinnings that justified the imperial rule. Japan's initial encounters with the Western world were marked by resistance and eventual adaptation. The arrival of Commodore Perry in 1853 forced Japan to end its centuries-long policy of isolation. The subsequent interactions led to significant cultural and technological exchanges, propelling Japan onto a path of rapid modernization and military expansion. The Meiji Restoration marked a pivotal era of profound reform in Japan, as the country endeavored to modernize and centralize its governance. Initiatives included the abolition of the feudal system, the establishment of a conscript army, and the adoption of Western legal, educational, and governmental models, radically transforming Japanese society and its international stance. Japan's imperial ambitions were significantly bolstered by the First Sino-Japanese War, which occurred between 1894 and 1895. This conflict primarily revolved around control of Korea, a strategically vital region. Japan's decisive victory allowed it to annex Taiwan and assert its influence over Korea, signaling its emergence as a regional power. The subsequent Russo-Japanese War, spanning from 1904 to 1905, further cemented Japan's status as a formidable force. The conflict arose from competing imperial ambitions over Manchuria and Korea. Japan's triumph was historic, marking the first time an Asian power defeated a European nation, which reshaped international perceptions and alliances. The annexation of Korea in 1910 was a significant yet controversial expansionist move by Japan. This outright annexation resulted from years of increasing Japanese control over Korean affairs, culminating in a total integration of Korea into the Japanese Empire. This move had profound implications for Korean society and its national identity. During the Japanese Empire, culture flourished with a particular emphasis on arts, literature, and education. Traditional forms like kabuki and no theater thrived alongside modern literature that explored new themes of individualism and modernity. Education reforms aimed at instilling a mix of traditional values and modern scientific knowledge to unify and empower the nation. The economic factors driving the expansion of the Japanese Empire were fueled by a need for resources and markets. As Japan industrialized, its limited land and resources pushed it to seek new territories. This led to aggressive policies aimed at acquiring raw materials, such as oil, rubber, and minerals, essential for sustaining its industrial growth. Japan's military structure was deeply influenced by its imperial ambitions. Comprising a highly disciplined army and a rapidly modernizing navy, it was strategically positioned to support overseas conquests. Key figures like Admiral Togo and General Yamashita played pivotal roles in shaping military strategies that expanded Japan's territorial reach. Daily life in the Japanese Empire varied significantly between urban and rural areas. Cities like Tokyo and Osaka experienced rapid modernization and westernization, bustling with new industries and educational institutions. In contrast, rural areas remained predominantly agricultural, with traditional lifestyles persisting amidst the encroaching influences of modernity. Western colonization elsewhere in Asia had a profound impact on Japanese imperial policies. Observing Western powers' successes, Japan adopted similar strategies, employing both military force and diplomacy to expand its influence. This emulation was driven by a desire to be recognized as a formidable power on the global stage. During World War I, Japan seized the opportunity to expand its influence by entering the war on the side of the Allies. It captured German territories in the Pacific and leveraged its participation to negotiate territorial gains at the Versailles Treaty, thereby extending its reach into East Asia. The 1920s in Japan were marked by a surge in democratic aspirations, fueled by the global trend towards democracy. However, these movements faced significant resistance from the entrenched imperial system, which felt threatened by the rising calls for more participatory governance. As the global economy plunged into the Great Depression in the 1930s, Japan was not spared. The economic downturn severely affected Japan's industrial output and export businesses, leading to widespread unemployment and social unrest. This economic hardship helped militaristic leaders gain support, promising recovery through expansion and military buildup. Militarism became increasingly influential in Japan as the nation sought to address its economic and security concerns through expansionist policies. The military advocated for a more aggressive foreign policy, leading to conflicts with neighboring countries and setting the stage for Japan's entry into World War II. The Second Sino-Japanese War, which began in 1937, was a result of Japan's aggressive expansionist policy aimed at dominating China. The conflict was marked by brutal campaigns such as the Nanjing Massacre, which caused immense suffering and shifted international opinion against Japan. Life under Japanese rule in occupied territories was harsh and oppressive. The military administration imposed strict controls, exploited resources, and often used brutal measures to suppress resistance. This period left deep scars and lasting animosities in the regions affected by Japanese occupation. Propaganda played a crucial role in the Japanese Empire, shaping public opinion through media and education. The government controlled newspapers and radio broadcasts, promoting nationalism and imperialist ideologies. Schools taught students to be loyal to the emperor and the nation, embedding a sense of duty and pride in young minds. The planning and execution of the attack on Pearl Harbor marked a pivotal moment in World War II. This surprise military strike by the Japanese Navy against the United States led to America's direct involvement in the conflict. The meticulously planned operation aimed to cripple the Pacific Fleet and assert Japanese dominance. During the Pacific War, Japan's strategic approach involved swift naval and air strikes, aiming to secure vital territories and resources. Key battles such as Midway and Guadalcanal highlighted the strengths and weaknesses of Japanese military tactics. Despite early successes, logistical challenges, and fierce resistance eventually turned the tide against Japan. The role of the emperor in World War II was complex, embodying both spiritual leadership and national symbolism. While officially a divine figure, the emperor's influence on military and political decisions remains a subject of debate. His status provided a unifying figure for the nation during the turmoil of war. On the home front in Japan, civilians faced increasing hardships as the war progressed. Resources became scarce and cities were subjected to air raids, most notably Tokyo. The entire nation mobilized, with women and children contributing to war efforts through factory work and other duties, enduring great sacrifices amidst growing uncertainty. Japanese internment during World War II deeply impacted those of Japanese descent, particularly in the United States. Families were uprooted and placed in internment camps under harsh conditions, stripping them of dignity and rights, solely based on their heritage, creating lasting scars on the community. The downfall of the Japanese Empire was marked by a series of devastating events, culminating in the resignation of Prime Minister Hideki Tojo. The relentless Allied advances and internal dissent created a dire situation, forcing Japan towards inevitable surrender, with the devastating bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki serving as grim punctuation. The atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August 1945 were cataclysmic. These bombings not only obliterated the cities, but also led to tens of thousands of immediate deaths, followed by long-term effects from radiation exposure. This marked a poignant and tragic turning point in modern warfare and human history. Japan's surrender on August 15, 1945, brought an end to World War II, but initiated a period of occupation and profound change. Led by General Douglas MacArthur, The American occupation aimed to demilitarize and democratize Japan, fundamentally reshaping its political landscape and societal structures. The San Francisco Peace Treaty, signed in 1951, restored sovereignty to Japan and marked the end of the Allied occupation. This treaty allowed Japan to re-enter the international community, setting the stage for its remarkable post-war economic recovery and peaceful stance in global politics. The San Francisco Peace Treaty in 1951 marked a pivotal moment for Japan, re-establishing its sovereignty and formally ending World War II. This treaty also set the stage for Japan to rejoin the international community, fostering relationships that had been severed during the war years. Emperor Showa's re-establishment symbolized continuity and stability in post-war Japan. Despite the changes sweeping through the country, the monarchy played a crucial role in maintaining a sense of national identity and cultural heritage, providing a link between Japan's past and its new democratic framework. Japan's post-war economic miracle is a testament to its resilience and ability to innovate. Rapid industrial growth propelled the nation to become a leading global economic power. This era saw advancements in technology and manufacturing that laid the groundwork for Japan's reputation as a hub of efficiency and high-quality production. The pacifist constitution adopted in 1947 profoundly impacted Japan's approach to international relations and its military posture. Renouncing the right to wage war, the constitution redirected national focus towards economic growth and diplomacy, shaping a new path for the country that once prioritized imperial expansion. The legacy of the Japanese Empire continues to influence contemporary Japanese politics. Issues surrounding wartime memory and historical interpretation persist, affecting domestic policies and Japan's relations with its neighbors. These reflections on the past play a crucial role in shaping national identity and Japan's role on the world stage. Education in post-imperial Japan has undergone significant transformation. Schools today teach a version of history that sometimes glosses over the darker aspects of the Japanese Empire, leading to criticism both domestically and internationally. This selective memory challenges Japan's reconciliation with its past and complicates its relationships with neighbors. Reflecting on the Japanese Empire provides critical lessons for future generations about the dangers of militarism and the importance of ethical governance. Understanding the historical context of these events helps foster a global citizenry committed to peace and mutual respect among nations, crucial for preventing future conflicts.